Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we are checking out something incredibly cool. As you can see, we are taking a look at a Takara Tomy figure. This is a Takara Tomy Jurassic World Dominion release, and we've got ourselves the Parasaurolophus, and this honestly might be one of the best Takara Tomy figures I have ever seen. The sculpt of this is so beautiful, and the paint job as well is actually quite nice, fairly reminiscent to the way it appears as far as one of the different variants that we see in Jurassic World Dominion, as there are quite a few different Parasaurolophus there at that beginning scene when Owen is chasing them down. You can see a few different colorations on them, but this is definitely fairly reminiscent to one that we do see in that opening scene of the film, or near the opening scene of the film at least. But again, it is gorgeous as far as the sculpt, really quite nice as far as the paint, so let's jump straight to a closer look at it right now. So starting up here at the head sculpt of the Parasaurolophus, look at how beautiful that head sculpt is. If that doesn't perfectly capture the appearance to the head sculpt of the Parasaurolophus in Dominion, then I don't know what does. And we've seen some really nice images of that Parasaurolophus, and it definitely, again, to me, looks pretty much identical to this as far as the sculpt goes. Coloration-wise, very close, but not quite, of course, because you don't get a really highly detailed paint job on a Takara Tomy figure, but you get a pretty decent one, honestly, on this one. And you can see, again, a lot of detailing within the skin of the Parasaurolophus, especially here leading up from the back of the head into the lower part of the crest. You've got a very nice black painted eye, nice gloss coat on it as well. You have kind of like a grayish tone for the majority of the head, but you have this lighter tone that leads down from the eye socket area down here into the cheek toward the lower jaw. You can also see that the beak is sculpted very, very nicely. The beak is also a gray, if my camera would focus on it. And you've got the nostrils right there, really nicely sculpted out. As you lead up, you've got a beautiful bluish tone for the crest of the Parasaurolophus, and that as well looks really, really good. Leading down the course of the neck, you can see some nice creasing and everything in the neck region of the Parasaurolophus, as well as some nice stretching of the skin here in the lower part of the throat, leading down here through the course of the neck. As you lead down into the body, you can continue to see some fantastic skin texture. You have a nice blue striping that picks up that runs the course of the Parasaurolophus. Leading down here, you can see some nice creasing and everything in the skin in the arm, as well as the elbow present right back there. As you lead down into the foot sculpt, you've got some nicely painted nails with a black, and then leading back up, you can again see some more incredible detailing here in the stomach region. You can also see kind of like some nice girth there in the stomach region of the Parasaurolophus, so it's fairly well fed. Very light tone of gray for this one. My camera almost seems to be having a hard time picking up on it, but you can see the spinal column leading along the back of the Parasaurolophus, and you can also see how those stripes continue to run down the course of the back, down into the side. They're very nicely applied, very smooth application of the paint. As you move back here a little bit further, you can see some nice muscle definition in the thigh. The kneecap is kind of present. You've got a calf muscle, but it's not incredibly bulging, but you do have some nice skin wrinkles there in the back of the knee. If we move the leg back, you can get a better idea of what the skin texture looks like here in the lower part of the stomach, as far as like the skin wrinkling and everything going on right there. Leading down here into the rear foot of the Parasaurolophus, you yet again have some nicely sculpted out toes and nicely painted nails. Really nicely painted nails, actually, like they're not really sloppy or anything at all. And then leading back up here, again, you can see some more skin wrinkling and creasing and everything back there behind the thigh. As you lead out the length of the tail, you can see that the tail kind of leads down in a downward position, but it's not like super obvious. And of course, you can make it go down further, or if you really want to break the tail and the spine, you can make it go up like that. But you can see that, again, we do have that ball joint area of articulation out here on the tail of the Parasaurolophus that can swivel, so you can turn it completely upside down if you choose to, but you can also make it go all over the place. And you can see that that blue striping does continue the entire way out here onto the tail, which definitely looks nice. You also have articulation in the legs, the rear legs that is. You can see very, very nice, very smooth articulation, and you also have articulation in the neck, so you can put the neck all the way down, or you can put it all the way up, or position it somewhere in between. That's really up to you. The arms are kind of in like almost the same position. This one might be slightly more forward than we see on the opposing side, but you don't see any major differences on this side compared to the initial side. Same goes for the neck and head area, because it's pretty much straightforward, so you're not going to see any type of a massive difference. You can see that the eye paint and placement is perfect on this side though, just like we saw on the initial side. And then pretty much the same deal for the legs, like it's almost in a totally neutral position. So sculpt wise and everything, you're not really going to see much difference over here compared to what we saw on the initial side. Really nice detailing there though on the underside of the Parasaurolophus. But this is honestly one of my favorite Takara Tomy figures I think I've ever seen. Like, this is definitely a beautiful, beautiful Parasaurolophus. Now, the size of the Parasaurolophus is pretty much right where you would expect it to be. So for a length, you were looking at about 5 inches or around 12.5, closing in on 13 centimeters, but not quite there. And then for a height, the highest point currently I would say would be the back. You're looking at a little under 2 inches or closing in on 5 centimeters. But if we put the head up, it's not really going to get too much higher. You're looking at pretty much the same, right? Roughly in that same area. But for a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack, Colovosaurus, and Robert Muldoon from the Mattel Jurassic World toy line next to our Takara Tomy Parasaurolophus. And you can definitely see that as per usual when it comes to a Takara Tomy figure. It is really quite on the smaller side. Pretty much, I would say a little bit larger than a minifigure, but by no means is it a large figure. I would definitely say it's in the small range. And then for another comparison, we have a Mattel minifigure as well as a Toy Monster International Captives minifigure here next to our Parasaurolophus. And you can really see again that it's quite small, definitely in the small range. And if you could see how well it sizes up here next to these minis, I think you could see how small it truly is, but also how impressive it is because the sculpt and paint is really quite phenomenal for something of this size. And then you've got one of the 5-inch basic figures from Mattel. We have the 5-inch basic Therizinosaurus from Jurassic World Dominion next to the Parasaurolophus, again showing you that it is very, very small, like I've been saying the entire time. So this brand new Takara Tomy Jurassic World Dominion Parasaurolophus is absolutely fantastic and definitely one of my favorite Takara Tomy figures to come along so far. And they have a lot of really nice figures, but I feel like the sculpt of this one is quite possibly the most highly detailed Takara Tomy figure I've had the pleasure of checking out here on the channel. Like, it is really well done when it comes to a detailing standpoint. And they also captured the likeness, I think, quite perfectly of the Parasaurolophus from Jurassic World Dominion, and they definitely are very good at that, because if you think back to the review I did for the Takara Tomy Dimetrodon, I felt like that was probably the most screen-accurate Dimetrodon figure out of a Jurassic World Dominion style Dimetrodon so far, so I would say that this is definitely the most screen-accurate Parasaurolophus as well when it comes to the Jurassic World Dominion version, and it is an absolutely incredible-looking sculpt, again, with so much fine detail to it. But the paint job as well is nothing to look past, because the paint on this is actually quite nice. You can see we have that really nice bluish tone there in the crest of the Parasaurolophus, a beautiful grayish tone to the majority of the body. You have that light coloration leading down from the eye, and then again a nice blue striping that runs through the entire figure, and also painted nails, which is a massive plus. So the paint job, I think, is also quite nicely done, better probably than most of your standard Takara Tomy figures. And you also have some pretty fun articulation, although not everyone is a huge fan of the ball joint look on a lot of the Takara Tomy figures. It's kind of something that's grown on me over the years and almost part of their charm, I would say, at this point, so I don't mind that at all. And again, you do have articulation in the neck, the rear legs, not the front legs, only the rear legs, and then the tail. So just an added bonus, I would say, for this figure. So as a whole, it is absolutely awesome. And definitely, again, like I said, probably one of my favorite Takara Tomy figures I've ever seen. So if you are interested in this, I will include a link in the description to where you can purchase this for yourself. So make sure you check that link, grab yourself this beautiful Parasaurolophus, and like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.